So here's an example of average speed problem that involves a couple of different legs. Pause the video, read it before we attack it. All right, so here we go. Again, as usual, I encourage you to draw a picture out to help you visualize and then fill out the data information. This way, a guide to make these types of problems easy for you. So here is Garden Grove High School, and then here is Safari Park. The statement says that these two locations are 90 miles apart, and it says that the first leg, which is 60 miles, was or it took 48 minutes to cover, and then the problem states that the average speed for the entire trip is 48 miles per hour, and it wants us to know what was the average speed for the last 30 miles, or the second leg. Okay, so the whole entire trip, again, is 90 miles. The first leg in black here is 60 miles, therefore the remaining distance as stated is 30 miles. And then before you attack the rest of the problem, I like to point out that the time given in the first leg is in minutes, not in hours. So it's important that you kind of scan and scope out units before you set up and do the rest of the calculations. So the first thing we should do is convert 48 minutes to hours, because the average speed for the entire trip was given in miles per hour. So don't just look at values, look at values with units and make sure everything corresponds to each other, so units will cancel out in your work. All right, let's go ahead and convert 48 minutes. So to convert 48 minutes, you would just set up the conversion factor. For every hour, there are 60 minutes. If you do that properly, the unit minute cancels out, and then 48 times 1 is 48, and then divided by 60 in the denominator, that'll give you 0.8 hour. So now that we have the 48 minutes for the first leg converted to hours, let's go ahead and set up the chart. So for this particular problem, my chart has three components. There's segment 1, segment 2, and then the total trip. The reason this last column is set up is because the information for the total trip was given. Again, it says the average speed for the entire trip was 48 miles per hour, and then the distance is already given to us as 90. So let's go ahead and focus on what is it is asking us to find. It's asking us to find the average speed for the second segment. So to find S average in the second segment here, you need two pieces of information. You need the distance and the time, but that's easy. Okay. The distance is already given to us as 30 miles, and then the only thing that we don't know is the time in the second leg. But what we can do is that we can find the total time that it took to cover the 90 miles, because the problem states that the whole entire trip averaged 48 miles per hour, so that would fall under the average speed for the total trip. And then the total distance is given to us as 90 miles. So in this particular statement for the trip, the only thing that's unknown is the total time that it took. So really we can just find the total time that it took just by doing a little algebra stuff here. Multiply both sides by t total, and then divide both sides by 48 miles per hour. And if you do that properly, you should get a total time of 1.875 hours. So now that we know the total time, we also know the amount of time that it took to cover the first leg, which we converted to 0.8 hours. So to find the time for the second leg, all we have to do is set up the statement. The total time is equal to the first leg's time plus the second leg's time. And then we know information already. We know that the t total we just found using the information in the right side of the column for the total trip is 1.875 hours. And then we already know t1 from our conversion, and that was given to us in the statement initially. And then that would be 0.8 hours. So the only thing that we don't know is t2. But to solve for t2, we would just subtract 0.8 hours on both sides. So that'll look like that. And if we do that subtraction properly, you should get 1.075 hours. So the second leg took an hour, or 1.075 hours. Okay. So therefore, we can go ahead and substitute it in for t2 in the middle column, because that was the only thing holding us back from being able to solve for the average speed of the second leg. So we just plug it in. The numerator remains the same, which is 30 miles, and then we plug in the 1.075 hours, and then calculator time. If you punch it in properly, it should give you about 27.91 miles per hour. So that is how you do this particular problem. Okay. I'd like to point out that you notice here in this type of problem, you don't really need segment 1. So it's important as you practice, you know what it is that you need to set up, and not just be so robotic and go from left to right. So with this particular problem, emphasizes the usage of the information for the total trip, and that would help you find information for the second leg. All right, I hope that helps.